There's a feeling a lot of us carry around, and most of us never name it out loud. It's the quiet sense that something about us needs to be fixed before our real life can actually begin. Not in a dramatic way. More like a low hum underneath everything. A background verdict that says, "You're behind. You're not quite enough. There's something off about you that other people seem to have figured out." If that's familiar, stay with me, because there's an idea I want to sit with you on, and it's a strange one. The idea is this: the version of you that feels broken, not enough, or behind in life, was never actually real. Not in the way you think it is. Nothing that has happened to you, no failure, no trauma, no bad decision, no missed opportunity, has actually changed who you are at the source. The mental burden most of us carry is the belief that we're the accumulated sum of everything that went wrong. If that's not true, even a little, then a lot of the fear and guilt we drag around starts to lose its grip. That's what we're going to explore. Not as a belief, as a kind of experiment in how you see yourself. Let me give you a scene. You're in a performance review. Your manager says something mildly critical. Nothing severe, just a note that a project could have gone better. You nod, you say the right things. You walk out fine, and then you get in the car. By the time you're halfway home, the story has expanded. You're incompetent. You've always been incompetent. People can see through you. They've probably been talking about you. This is who you are. This is who you've always been. You're maybe thinking about a comment from 3 years ago that fits the pattern. You're thinking about your dad. You're thinking, on some level you wouldn't say out loud, that you're going to be found out. The trigger was one sentence. The Suffering was a 90-minute novel. And here's what's worth noticing, not to feel bad about, just to notice, you've written that novel before. Different cover, same plot. The names of the characters change. The setting changes, but the core argument is always the same. There is something wrong with me, and the evidence is mounting. The mind is extraordinary at this. It takes its worst moments, stitches them together, and presents the result as your identity. Then it forgets it did the stitching. The construction starts to feel like a fact. Here's the image I want to give you. Imagine a diamond, buried under decades of mud and sediment. Layers of it, pressed in, dried, cracked, layered again. The mud is real, you can feel it. It weighs on you. It obscures everything. When you look down at yourself, what you see is mud. But the diamond underneath, its structure, its clarity, its actual nature, hasn't changed by a single atom. Not one. The mud has covered it. The mud has not become it. Now, most of the self-help and self-improvement world is trying to do something with the mud. Polish the mud. Rearrange the mud. Affirm the mud into looking like a diamond, and that's exhausting, because the mud is not the problem. The forgetting is. The forgetting that there's a diamond in there at all. So back to the car ride home. What if, somewhere around the third paragraph of the novel, something interrupts? Not a positive affirmation. Not a forced reframe, just a quiet, almost neutral question. Is the author of this novel telling the truth, or just telling a very old story? That's the turn. That's the moment something shifts. Because if you catch yourself mid-chapter, if you notice the construction happening in real time, you suddenly have a strange kind of distance from it. You can feel the momentum of the story, and you can also feel that you're not it. You're the one noticing. And the one noticing was not in the novel. This is where the diamond and mud distinction stops being philosophy and starts being a felt sense. You start to register, in a quiet, almost embarrassed way, that the part of you that's been listening to the story this whole time hasn't actually been damaged by it. It's been covered. It hasn't been changed. That's a very different relationship to your worst moments than the one most of us were trained into. Here's how this lands in ordinary life. Not in some grand awakening. In small, almost boring moments. Someone sends a short text and you start writing the novel about what they really meant. You catch it. You ask the question. You don't have to win the argument with the story, you just have to notice you're inside one. You make a mistake at work. The mind reaches for its old file. See? This is who you are. You catch it. You feel the pull of the file, and you wonder, gently, if the file has ever actually been accurate, or if it's just been familiar. You look in the mirror at the end of a long day. The verdict starts to form. You catch it. You don't argue with the mirror. You just notice that something underneath the verdict is the thing doing the noticing, and that something has been there the whole time. This is the practice. Catching yourself mid-story, asking one quiet question instead of writing the next chapter. It's not dramatic. It's almost anticlimactic. But it changes the texture of a day, and then a week. And then how you walk around in your own life. What happens, over time, is something we don't have great language for. The constant low-grade noise of self-improvement, self-criticism, and self-repair starts to quiet. Not because you fixed yourself, because you start to suspect there was nothing broken at the source. Daily life feels less like a test you keep failing, more like a surface you're not taking quite so personally. You stop trying to earn your way back to being okay, because somewhere in there, you realize, you never actually left. You were just under a lot of mud, and you forgot what was underneath. The relief, when it comes, is strange. It's not loud, it's more like the absence of a sound you didn't realize had been playing this whole time. So before we move into the meditation, just let that sit. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to perform it. You just have to be willing to wonder if it might be true. The wondering itself is the practice. The wondering is enough. Before we move into the meditation, if this is helping you, you're welcome to like the video and subscribe. It's a simple way to keep practicing together. Let's settle in. Find a way to sit or lie that lets your body feel held. Let your shoulders drop a little. Let your jaw soften. You don't have to do anything here. Nothing to fix, nothing to figure out. Just notice that you're breathing. The breath has been doing this all day, without your help. Let it keep going. Feel the weight of your body, the places where you're supported. The chair, the floor, the bed. Notice the quiet underneath the noise of the day. It's been there the whole time. If a thought arrives, a worry, a list, an old story, let it come. Let it pass through. You don't have to argue with it. You don't have to follow it. You are the one noticing. Rest there for a moment. If an old verdict shows up, something the mind likes to say about who you are, just notice it. Let it be a thought, not a fact. Underneath the thought, there's something quieter, something the thought can't reach. Remember the diamond. Buried, maybe, untouched. Always. You don't have to feel it perfectly, you just have to be willing to consider that it's there. Breathe in. Breathe out. Nothing about you needs to be earned right now. Nothing about you needs to be repaired right now. The part of you that's listening to these words has not been damaged by any story you've told about yourself. Let that land gently. Without pressing, rest for a moment in the quiet of that. There's nowhere to go, nothing to become. You're already here. And here is enough. When you're ready, let your attention widen a little. Notice the room. Notice the sounds around you. Notice your hands, your feet. Bring this quiet with you as much as you'd like, and take your time coming back. We're glad you practiced with us today. If it's helpful, a free digital copy of A Course in Miracles is available via the link in the description. You're also welcome to leave a short comment like, "I am grateful. Thank you for being here and for giving yourself this time." Whatever you're walking back into, see if you can carry a little of this softness with you. You don't have to fix yourself today. You don't have to earn your way back to anything. Be gentle with yourself out there. I'll see you soon.